Hey guys, welcome back to the Sunday stream. Today is December the 20th, 2020. I'm going to be looking at a few names today, including SPX and where the market's heading into next week. I'm going to be going through the watch list. I'm also going to be looking at some secondary names on the low cap names, including names like JMIA, PENN, DKNG, WKHS, SNAP, and a few others. Just before we start here, guys, don't forget to subscribe and like this. Also head over to TheWealthyMentor.net and check out our Discord page and the memberships that we offer. We offer great services along with trader development. And, it's a wonderful service for you to understand how to trade. And we also offer signals on incoming trades, entries and exits, and take profit zones. So don't forget to check that out. Okay, so over here, I have the SPX chart on the 5-minute time frame. I'm going to be taking a look at SPX. Futures hasn't opened up at the moment, as it opens up later today around 6. So SPX pushed higher on Friday, closing in at 37.10, pushing as high as you can see here at 37.15. We do have all-time highs at 37.26. We did have the Fed meeting on Friday with Jerome Powell talking about interest rates. The market was pretty muted the past few days prior to that on stimulus news, on Jerome Powell's comments towards interest rates. So we did see a pop, as you can see here on the 5-minute time frame. We did go as low as 36.86, which was support, and we rocketed towards the end of the day, which was 37.15. I have overhead resistance at 37.25 to around 37.20. There's a zone there. After that, it's pretty much all-time highs. So going into Monday, I'm looking at 37.30, 37.45 to 37.50 as psychological resistance. Okay, now I'm just going to switch over to the 4-hour time frame. As you can see here, strong bull move from 36.50 onwards to 37.25. We did dip down to 36.86. And as you can see here, this is a bullish candle. Buyer stepped in. So going into Monday, I expect a resumption of that and to test 37.25. And above that, we're looking at all-time highs. Okay, so that is SPX on the 4-hour time frame. The first name I'm going to be looking at is Apple, ticker name AAPL. Okay, so here is Apple on the 4-hour time frame. Apple was pretty bullish throughout this week, mostly due to the S&P moving higher. As you guys know, Apple is closely correlated to S&P 500. So we did push as high as 129. And as you can see here, 129 has held for strong resistance. Going into Monday, I'm looking at that 127.50 mark to break. Above that, a retest of the 129 mark. If that is broken, I'm looking at 133 as a take profit zone. I would say an entry above 130 is a safer bet. For a more conservative trader, 130 to 133 makes a great scalp trade. My next level of resistance is the 135 zone. Taking a look at the 1-day chart for a broader look, we do have all-time highs at 137.98. Let's just call that 138. We hit that back on September the 1st. So going into tomorrow, I'm looking at that 127.50 mark to break, 130 for a conservative entry over to the 133 and 135 mark. It is December, so stocks tend to run in December as a Christmas rally. So look for that. Names like Apple, they're very innovative towards the end. Their news on their headsets, and look for a push in Apple. Keep that in mind. Now to the downside, we have 124.50 as strong support. We have hit it here on the 9th of December, on the 8th of December. So I'm looking at 124.50 to hold as support. If that were to break, I'm looking at 123 all the way down to 120.50 as the next levels of support. So that is Apple on the 4-hour time frame. Next name I'm going to be looking at is Tesla, TSLA ticker. And I'm going to be switching over to the 4-hour chart. Here is Tesla on the 4-hour chart. Tesla had a big rally up all the way to 695, albeit that was after hours. We did close Tesla at 677, which was pretty bullish. We do have the inclusion of the S&P 500 going into Monday. So be aware of the whole, sell the news type of event, or it could also mean that Tesla could push even higher due to euphoria amongst Robinhood traders. It is a name that is always coming out with news, so look for analyst upgrades going into Monday. Some analyst upgrades that I've seen were as high as $2,500 mark on Tesla. So Tesla was a name that I will be keeping an eye on. Overhead resistance is at 680. Above that is all-time highs. So I will be drawing a resistance zone at 695, right? And at 690. So going into Monday, I'm looking for a break of 680 for a scalp trade all the way to 690, 695 zone, which is all-time highs. We do have support at 665 and 650. As you can see, 650 here has held for support and resistance back on December the 17th and December the 18th. So if we were to drop, I'm looking at 650 as some sort of support. As you can see here, we had a monster wick going down all the way to 630. This was partly due on Friday when the markets were waiting for Jerome Powell's comments. Also increased volatility on contracts expiring. It was one of those days where the monthly contracts were expiring, the weeklies were expiring. So increased volatility happens on those type of days. And also we were looking for direction when Jerome Powell spoke at 2 p.m. We did dip down at 6:30. One of the trades in our group chat on Discord was if 6:30 were to hold, 640, 650 would be the target. And it played out beautifully. It was a very simplistic play. Group members profited. I profited on the 6:30 play. So Tesla has been pretty consistent in touching these levels. So look for, if there is a sell-off, look for these levels to get hit. 665 support, 650, 640, and 630. Okay, so that is Tesla on the 4-hour time frame. Next name I'm going to be looking at is ROKU, ROKU. ROKU is approaching all-time highs. It did push higher this week, and it is still pretty bullish. As you can see, the trend is your friend. Since November, we have gone up from 202 all the way to 350. And this is another name that I'm going to be looking at. We did end up closing Friday's session at 340. We do have overhead resistance at 350. We can draw a short-term resistance point at 345. So going into Monday, I'll be looking at 345 to break for a take profit at 350. Above 350, I'm looking at all-time highs. Let's just draw a line at 352 because we did wick up to that back on the 17th of December. So above 352 is a blue sky breakout. Keep in mind, when we do break up above the 350 zone. Stocks tend to go up and retest that 352 zone for support. And if support holds at 352, that would be a better confirmation to understand that we are going higher. Some traders don't like to enter on the breakout, on the initial breakout. They want to see a retest of that. And if that retest holds, that would be a confirmation to enter. Okay, so that is ROKU on the 4-hour time frame. To the upside. To the downside, I'm looking at 332 as support. A break of that, I'm looking at a shorting opportunity all the way down to the 320 zone, which has held for support back here on the 16th, over here on the 14th, and over here on the 10th of December. So 320 has held for pretty good support. However, a break of 332, a possible shorting opportunity to 320, and a bounce at that 320 zone is highly possible. Okay, so that is ROKU on the 4-hour time frame. Next name, ZM, Zoom. Zoom is one of the stay-at-home stocks. However, it has been trending down ever since it hit 588. This is one of the stocks that has greatly appreciated in value due to people working from home, using their platform. Looking at what happened on Friday, we are still hovering around the $400 mark, which has ping-ponged between 390 to 400, all the way to 415. Going into Monday, I'm looking at levels over 410 as confirmation for a swing play, scalp trade to 415. However, as a more conservative trader and as part of the watch list, I do have levels above 415. A break of that, 425 would be a good take profit area. Above 425, I am looking at the 435 mark. However, as I've said before, the trend is your friend. So if you're looking at the 1-day mark, you are looking at a declining chart. So you can see lower, see a staircase pattern here, 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 and that's going to be the case on Zoom unless we break the 485 mark, which would create a trend change on the daily time frame. So 485, if you are a swing trader, look for that mark to break to understand that there is a trend change in Zoom. However, if you are a day trader, scalper, if you are trading options, I would look for the 415 mark here to break for a potential take profit at 435 and 425. Now to the downside, if 400 were to break, 390 would be the likely target. However, as you can see here, there have been long wicks, and these wicks are a sign of buyers stepping in, support holding, and keeping it above this 400 psychological resistance. Sorry, the 400 psychological support. However, if that were to break, 390 would be a safe bet. And below that, 374 would be my next support zone on Zoom. As you can see here, big candle wick down here, buyers stepping in. They don't want this to go below that mark. Okay, that is Zoom on the 4-hour time frame. Next name, PTON, Peloton. PTON is the ticker. Peloton on the 4-hour time frame. We are at all-time highs. Peloton with a strong move from the 110, 109 mark all the way to 142. I am going to be drawing a level of resistance here at the 142 mark. We are above 142 in a blue sky breakout. So levels that I'm going to be looking at is 146 as my first resistance zone, right? And I'm going to draw that right here. And 150. Stocks tend to move in round numbers. So 150 is a key area that I'll be looking at. So we did close Friday's session at 140.15. I'll be looking at 142 to break for a take profit of 146. As I mentioned on names like ROKU, even though we do like to break out at the 142 mark, which is all-time highs, stocks tend to break out and retest that 142 for support before moving higher. So keep that in mind, guys. Look for the 5-minute candle bodies to close prior to jumping in. Look for confirmation. Look for analyst upgrades going into Monday. Names that are all-time highs like ROKU, like Peloton, will receive analyst upgrades because they are moving higher. So analysts are going to be upgrading their price targets. Keep that in mind. Also, Peloton is one of the stay-at-home stocks, just like Zoom is. So due to the upcoming closures, the uncertainty with the coronavirus, along with the vaccination news, there's going to be rug pulls here and there. So names like Peloton and Zoom will be pushing higher going into the new year. So keep that in mind. Peloton on the downside, I'm looking at 138 as support, 135.5, and 133 as support on Peloton. As you can see here, 133 was a good breakout area where we did create a bull flag. Here's the flagpole, and here's the flag itself. Strong move pushing up. Same thing here. Pole and the flag pushing up. So again, I'll be looking for the same pattern here. Flagpole, flag itself, and a push up all the way to the 146 to the 150 mark on Peloton. Okay, that is Peloton on the 4-hour time frame. Next name I'm going to be looking at is Square, SQ ticker. Square on the 4-hour time frame. Again, one of those names pushing to all-time highs. We did close Friday's session at 236.5. We do have all-time highs at 237.10. So I will be drawing a level of resistance at 237. And as you guys guessed, I'm looking at that 237 mark to break on Monday for an entry. Now, again, I'm going to say it again, even though I do sound like a broken record, watch for those levels to break and a retest of those all-time highs before the stock moving higher, because we do have rug pulls here, as you know. So keep that in mind. Key levels that I'm looking at for take profit zones, 240, right? 245 and 250, very much like Peloton. Now we do have support here, which I'm going to draw right at 230, 227, our areas of support. We wick to 237. We also wick down to 227. So a break of 227, a possible shorting opportunity down to 222.50 is highly possible. We had a wick here, which was rejected at 222. And we also had this wick here at 221. So I'm looking at 227 to break for a possible shorting opportunity to 222.50. Okay, so that is Square on the 4-hour time frame. Next name, FDX, FedEx. FedEx had earnings last week. Okay, so here we are on the 4-hour time frame. It did push down at earnings. We had as high as 305, which was all-time highs on FedEx on earnings. As you can see, this whipsaw action happened over here, pushing as low as 276. So going into Monday, I'm looking at levels of 280 to break, potential scalp up to 284, 286. However, if you are more of a conservative trader, I'm looking at the 290.50, 293.50 mark to break to show us that there is some sort of pattern change. However, as you can see here, we are creating lower lows, 305, 296, 290, and now we're at 276. So if you were to follow the trend, it looks like we are going lower. However, we do have support here at 276. back last week on the 18th. We also had support here, as you can see, on November the 20th. So that is an area of interest for me that I'm looking at. However, if that were to break 276, I'm looking at areas of 272 and 270 as the next levels of support. Let me just move this chart up here to give you guys a broader look. Okay. So 276, if that were to break, I'm looking at 272, 270. If that doesn't hold, we could potentially drop down to the 266 mark and even wick down as low as 258 and 256. As you can see, it has held for strong support over here back on the 10th of November and also on October the 30th. These long wicks to the downside are signs of buyers stepping in and holding that price point, then pushing up here, here, here. So if it were to drop, I'm looking at a bounce at those levels. Okay, so that is FedEx, FDX on the 4-hour time frame. Next name I want to look at is NIO, N-I-O. NIO can also be closely correlated to Tesla. It is one of the EV names that tends to push with Tesla. However, it has been stuck into this range of 40 to 49. Going into Monday, I'm looking at a break of 47 for a potential scalp at 49. A more conservative trader would be looking at an entry above 49 for a potential take profit of 51, 54, and 56 as take profit zones. We are in an overall downtrend on NIO since hitting all-time highs at 58, 59. As you can see here, 58, the next step, 54, then down to 48, 47, going as low as 40, and closing Friday's session at 47. However, like I said, a more conservative trader will look to the $49 mark to break, which has held for resistance back here on the 2nd of December and over here on December the 8th. So above 49, 51, 54, and 56 are take profit areas. To the downside, I'm looking at a break of 45 for a potential short down to the 43 mark. If 43 does not hold, I'm looking at $40 as support, 38 as the next level of support. Okay, that is NIO on the 4-hour time frame. Another name I'm going to be looking at, which is on our low cap stock watch lists. Guys, if you are not part of the group on Discord, head over to wealthymentor.net and check out our memberships. We offer 1 month, 6 month, and 1 year memberships. It's not just a membership or a page where we give you entries and exits, but it's a place where we give you analysts information, upgrades, downgrades. We also provide you with market analysis, economic events that are upcoming. It's a great community. Be sure to check us out if you're looking into trading options. Okay, so a name that one of the members asked me to review is JMIA, JMIA. JMIA is dubbed the African Amazon. So it's one of those names that has almost made all-time highs. Let's just see at the 1 day chart. Let's look at the 1 week chart for more clarity. So as you can see, all-time highs is at 49.77. Let's just call it 50 for round numbers sake. That was hit back on April 2019. As you can see, it has dropped as low as $2 back on March the 16th, 2020, which was pretty much the lows near the pandemic, going as high as 42.50. Going into Monday, I'm looking for a retest of all-time highs at 49.77. So an entry above $50 is what I'm looking at on JMIA. However, guys, you know, it has been a long time since we have hit all-time highs. So I'm looking at a retouch of those all-time highs and a push lower. If we do push lower, I'm looking at $40 as support. As you can see here, it was resistance back last year on April the 29th. We tried to go back to all-time highs, long wick up, right? Buyers were rejected, the price pushed down, and the rest is pretty much history. As you can see, it went down as $2. Keep in mind, this is on the 1 week time frame, right? So going into Monday, all-time highs is what I'm looking at. If we do not break, let's just say 42.50, which is where we left off, I'm going to draw a level of resistance right now at 42.50. Actually, it's at 43.50. If 43.50 were to break, I am looking at all-time highs as a take profit zone. If we do get rejected, I'm looking at a hold at $40.50. If that were to break, I'm looking at 28.70. We could potentially have a stop around $37 here and here are areas where it stopped prior. So $37 is a potential target if $40 were to break. And below 37, I am looking at for a push to $28. Guys, keep in mind, these type of stocks are low cap. They don't have much liquidity. They do tend to move 20, 25, even 30% in one day, and they can also drop 30% in one day. So keep that in mind. So that is JMIA on the weekly time frame and pretty much on the daily time frame. Charts looking good, volumes looking good. Another name I'm going to be looking at is PINS, P-I-N-S, which is Pinterest. Here is Pinterest on the daily time frame. We are nearing all-time highs at 72.88. I'm just going to go over to the 1 week chart to confirm everything. Monthly chart. Okay, so 72.88 is all-time highs. We did close Friday's session at $70. Pretty much the same as ROKU, PTON. I'm looking at 73 to break for a take profit at 76. Let me just draw some resistance at 76 and at 80. So going into Monday, I'm looking for that break above 73 for a 76 potential profit, take profit target, and 80. We do have support at $70, we could say. 68.50 would be support. Below that, I'm looking at 64. Guys, keep in mind that this is part of our swing trading watch list. So I do hold higher targets, so higher zones, as opposed to our day trading targets, which are smaller. So above 73, this thing can really run. Okay, so that is PINS on the 4-hour time frame. Another name, PENN is a ticker. PENN National Gaming Inc. is at all-time highs. This is one of the stocks that I spoke about last week in our swing trading watch list to look at. We did break my targets of 81 and pushed as high as 95.50. So going into Monday, I'm looking at 95 to break, a target area of 100, 105, and 110. Okay. We do have small support here at 86.50. So going into Monday, 86.50 were to break, I'm looking at a potential short down to the $81 mark and $77 mark. I'm looking at all-time highs, a break above 96 for potential profit at 100, 105, and 110 are my take profit zones. So that is PENN on the 4-hour time frame, another name approaching all-time highs or near all-time highs. Next name I'm going to be looking at is CHWY, CHWY. CHWY had an awesome week, actually. Actually, every time I looked at it, it was up 5 or 6%. So going into Monday, I'm looking at a break of 103, right? We did exceed my target on my watch list above 90. I had targets above 76, 78, I believe. We did hit 86, we did hit 90, and went as high as 102. Going into Monday, I'm looking at 108, 110, 115, and 120. These are not concrete numbers, but stocks do tend to move in round numbers. And I have these levels set up going into Monday, actually for the whole week. This is part of our swing trading package. So CHWY had a strong move up. I'm looking at over 103. We do have support here at 98, 94, and 90, and 86 as potential support zones. Okay. Another name I'm going to be looking at is SNAP, S-N-A-P. SNAP on the 4-hour time frame, again, is approaching all-time highs. Let's just look at the 1-day chart to confirm. The 1-week chart. Yep, we are at all-time highs. And again, this is one of our swing trading stocks. So above the 55 mark, I'm looking at $60, 65, and 70 as potential zones where SNAP may end up. Now to the downside, we have had support at $50. We had support at 47 and pretty good support at 43.50. We have held it here back on the 12th of December, sorry, the 2nd of December. We have also held it here on November the 25th and the 20th of November. Also, it has been resistance on October the 28th and the 26th of October. So those are areas to the downside that I'm looking at. Below 47, a shorting opportunity at 43.50. Okay, so that is SNAP on the 4-hour time frame. One last name I'm going to be looking at is BA, which is on a regular watch list, daily watch list. BA, we close Friday session at 220.67. We do have overhead resistance at 225.83. Let's call it 226. Above 226, I'm looking at potential plays at 234. If 234 were to break, 242.50, 244 would be good take profit zones. Now, if you are more of a conservative trader, I'll be looking at the 234 mark to break, or even all the way to 237 to break for an entry area, if you are a more conservative trader. If we do open Monday session heading lower, I am looking at areas of 210.50 and 206 as levels of support. If those were to break, I'm looking at 196 as the next area. Okay, so that is BA on the 4-hour time frame. And that's pretty much all the stocks that I'm going to be looking at today. Going into Monday, a lot of bullish news, Santa Claus rally, stocks pushing to all-time highs, the inclusion of Tesla on Monday, stay-at-home stocks such as ROKU and PTON. Keep those in mind, guys. And, look for my watch list to come out on Monday. And I hope everyone has a great week heading into tomorrow. All right, guys. Thank you very much. See you guys next week. Bye.